Nobody is accepting this fake Diddy apology. The more interesting question for me is, how did the Cassie tape get leaked? We have Christopher Melcher here to speculate. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. So glad to have Christopher Melcher, attorney at law, back here. How you doing, Chris?
Pretty good. Yeah, this has been a wild story. So good to be talking with you about it.
Let's start, and we're going to talk about where the tape came from, everything else, but I just want to get your reaction. I mean, I did share some of your tweets in the last show, but for those folks who missed the last episode or your Twitter, what was your reaction to this apology from Diddy?
Yeah, it's really frustrating because, we see these stories, unfortunately, too many times where someone's accused of something really serious, and then we see the denial come out. And, we want to be fair with people, and we want to say, hey, we want to give you the benefit of the doubt, the person that's being accused. But here, what we're seeing when we reflect back onto the November 2023 denial by Diddy's lawyer, Ben Brothman, saying, I vehemently deny all of this. And then we find out that Diddy had this tape since 2016. So he's had this tape at that point for over 7 years. And to come out and deny, and then for a lot of people to potentially give him the benefit of the doubt that was an absolute lie. And then when he was exposed with it on Friday, we all saw the tape and it was indefensible and disgusting what he did. Then he comes out saying, oh, I've learned, I've gone to therapy. Well, when did that therapy happen? Because he was denying that anything happened as late as November. So where did this tape come from? Well, Diddy kind of undid himself by securing that tape. With security tape, that stuff's overwritten typically within maybe 30 days. So he knew that there was damaging info on there. He tried to buy it. I don't know if he bought it from the hotel or maybe the hotel security person, but the reporting is he paid somebody $50,000 for that tape.
And just to be clear, this was in Cassie's lawsuit. She alleges all this too. Yeah.
Yeah. So the allegation and reporting is that he paid somebody $50,000 for that tape. Well, by doing so, he also secured it now. And so now we have this tape being here as evidence, where as if no one had ever gotten it, and it would not be here for us to see what actually occurred. So that was kind of a good thing, maybe, that he went out and got that tape, because now it's being used against him. But now who would leak it? And the suspects or potentially people would be Cassie or her lawyer, maybe whoever he had taped that from, that copy it from him as part of the security staff at the former Intercontinental Hotel. That would be somebody else, certainly had access to it. But also the federal government potentially has access to it. They raided both of his homes. We saw them taking out computer equipment. Maybe that tape was on there and maybe they leaked it. That's one possibility.
What's the benefit of the feds doing that?
So if they're going to indict him, having this leak come out there to show the strength of the case would be significant, because when the raids happened in LA and Miami, there were people who were just like, why do this to Diddy? Why come in there with basically military tactics or force? Why not just say, hey, why don't you just come outside so we can search your house? So there was questions around there. Was that like overblown?
Yeah.
And certainly if they just go out and indict him, they might say, oh, well, they're just targeting him and all these are false allegations, people wanting a payday. That's what Brothman was saying in November. But hey, now that we know what we know about Diddy, he's good to go in my mind. Anything that they want to indict him with, good to go. I don't give him the benefit of the doubt. And that tape, it was like, say, it was difficult to watch, because certainly, hey, look, people get angry and they do horrible things, but you don't kick somebody when they're down. And he did that repeatedly, and that was just a disgusting level of violence. And if he's going to do that to one person who is supposedly his girlfriend that he loved and cared for, I mean, he's certainly going to do that to other people.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful to watch, and he knows it. But it's so crazy about this video, I just still can't fathom. And I guess, and I said it, the reason he was able to post this is he thinks he's still in control. I'm guessing there's still a part of him that thinks, oh yeah, I'm just going to get away with this, and I'm in therapy now, and praise God and my forgiveness. And there's already a few comments who are like, yeah, only God can judge. We wish you on the best path. I'm sorry. I can't go there. I think it's so disrespectful to religion and God in itself as well, because he's just caught lying over and over again. All these statements are trying to villainize Cassie, who he settled with immediately because he knew. And this idea that, granted, it's through his lawyers or whatever, but Mr. Combs vehemently denies he's trying to cover his ass. So it feels like he's only doing this because he got caught. And he doesn't even say her name in the damn video, Chris. That was another thing that was so disgusting about this apology, right? That he doesn't even acknowledge to Cassie, which some might say take her name out of her mouth. But I don't know, at this point, that's who the apology needs to go to more than anybody else. The fact that he tried to paint her as this blackmailing, clout chasing liar, when in the reality now we know he's the serial abuser who we can't trust the word out of his mouth. I guess my next question is, because everyone's just so angry, what's going to get done? Like, can anything get done? The big question, obviously, being the tape that we've seen, a lot of reports coming in, including from the DA. Well, it's out of the statute of limitations, so nothing can be done. A lot of people are angry. Like, can the hotel or the CEO of the hotel be sued? Like, you had this tape and you didn't give it to the authorities. Like, where can justice be found for Cassie and everybody now who's frustrated at Diddy?
Yeah, this is frustrating when we see the delayed reporting of things. And now there's certainly reasons for that. Of people who know about domestic violence, there is a cycle there where people who are being abused often won't report it, and they'll go back to their abuser. It's sad, but that's part of the cycle, and that's what abusers feed upon. So I don't blame her in any way. Now, the hotel, I don't. Again, I want to know about this stuff. That Intercontinental doesn't run that hotel anymore in Century City. It's another operator, but still, somebody knew about it. Had they reported it to the authorities, it's the state who brings charges. It's oftentimes somebody say, "I'm going to press charges." No, individuals don't. It's the state, and the state would have definitely pressed charges against him had they been provided that. And but there's time limits to file criminal charges against somebody, and certainly just for a domestic violence action, that's gone. Now there could still be the federal charges, and we saw the Department of Homeland Security investigations. Those are the ones that did the raid of his house, and they investigate trafficking. And so this tape, even though no longer could be charged against him based on the statute of limitations, could be used as what we call a predicate act for a RICO action. And so I'm hoping that's how the feds will use it.
So there's still potentially a way to get justice here against even just this kind of stuff. There is a pathway.
There is. So we've seen the RICO cases used against others. It's traditionally for the mob, but it could be used if he's basically, the elements there has to be a criminal enterprise that he is conducting, either on an interstate or international level, where there's involved in multiple predicate acts. So there has to be certain types of crimes, not any type of crime, but certain listed crimes are committed, and that he's profiting off of those. If he's doing that, then they can go back and use these other acts that he did that are no longer, prosecutable because of the delay, but they could still use that to show the criminal enterprise. In this particular case, the domestic battery or domestic violence is not a predicate act for RICO, but kidnapping is. Mm-hmm. And so here, a kidnapping, it's not what you normally think, like taking a kid. It's the movement of a person against their will,
which is in the video.
And so, yeah, he actually drags her. He's trying to drag her back to the room, and so that's certainly what I think is substantial movement. We don't have to like put somebody in a car and travel across state lines or something like that. It's just substantial movement. And then the purpose of that movement was to potentially conceal her into that hotel room to further hurt her. So I think
he's now acknowledged it's him. Like, if you were representing him, would you have allowed this video to come out?
Well, I mean, it's there's no question it's him on the tape. At this point, he just has to fess up to it. I think if there was any questions of whether that was edited or AI generated or some other guy that looked like him or they were just joking around, and that's the way they kind of interact with each other. Any kind of nonsensical excuse that he could have concocted, we would have heard that. But he knows he's cooked, and the only thing he can go with there is saying like, "Oh, I've gone to therapy and I'll never do it again." So he never said that until the tape came out. So look, I think if the prosecutors, the federal prosecutors, could say, "Look, that was an act of kidnapping. That is a predicate act as part of this criminal enterprise that could support a RICO prosecution," that's how we could see it used potentially. Other than that, it's hard to really imagine how any criminal charges could be filed against him based on that tape.
Interesting. Yeah. So there are lots more coming. The only other worry I have is the fact that could this be leaked because they don't have as much? And this is sort of a way to put it out there to get people to actually come forward and be like, look, we got something, but we need more. Or do you think this is just a drip of trying to pressure him and they know more is coming?
Well, that Andy, that would be a probably legitimate reason to leak something, and we've seen again so many cases that we followed is usually one brave person comes forward and is disbelieved and honestly attacked, and then it's the second and third person that come out then that legitimizes or makes the allegations credible. So that could have been a reason why maybe a government official might have leaked the thing, is to saying like, hey, we're going to get this guy. It's okay to come out and testify now because you're going to be believed. And I hope that that although I'm sure it's horrible to see Casey being treated this way, that some good would come out of it, that if he has done this to other people, that they would come forward.
Yeah, one would help. But yeah, and I think a lot of people are feeling bad about not believing Cassie now. So it's definitely, I'm sure she's finally getting some justice that way, and she got paid, and she's talking to the Fed. So she clearly had better intel than I think a lot of people thought. Well, there it is. We got lots more to follow on this. I want to make sure you do follow Christopher Melcher though as well. He's been posting some. He did a good thread on Diddy here, and when he gets to you, want to catch him. So go follow CA_divorce. Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you for being here. We'll keep you guys posted on this story and so much more. So make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for all alerts so you get notified, and smash that like button. And let's keep F Diddy trending. Hashtag F Diddy. That's the name he deserves. What do you guys think? Were you as shocked as I was by this apology? Let us know in the comments down below. And what do you think is coming next? Do you think there's more? Do you think this is just the beginning? I want to hear your thoughts down below. Thank you guys so much for watching.